Welcome back to the Christian J Show, The Crime Chronicles, where we peel back the layers of history's darkest minds. I'm your host, Christian J, and today, we're not just telling a story, we're stepping into a nightmare. This is the case that birthed horror icons like Norman Bates, Leatherface, and Buffalo Bill. But Ed Gein wasn't fiction. He was real. Flesh and blood, and what he did defies belief. Let's go back to where it all began. Ed Gein was born in 1906 in La Crosse County, Wisconsin, but his childhood wasn't innocent. It was a slow suffocation, basically. His mother, Augusta, ruled the home with a religious iron fist. She believed the world was evil, especially women. She would call them whores, corrupt, unclean. Ed and his brother, Henry, weren't allowed to have friends. No laughter, no freedom. Just sermons and silence. The family moved to a farm in Plainfield. No neighbors, no escape. Just acres of isolation and Augusta's voice echoing through the walls. When Ed's father died in 1940, the family shrank. Then came the fire. In 1944, Ed and Henry were burning brush when Henry died under suspicious circumstances. Ed claimed he didn't know where Henry was, but led police straight to the body. Bruises were found, no charges was filed. And then it was just Ed and Augusta. So to take away from his childhood, basically, Augusta was a tyrant. She was a dictator, basically, in the home. She would call women, she would think women were evil. She would call them whores and corrupt and unclean. Honey, you don't look at yourself in the mirror? I mean, you talking about women, you talking about yourself. But I guess some women, when they talk about women, other women like that, they don't think about themselves. We see that to this day. Women could talk about other women, call them all type of names. I'm like, but do y'all look at yourself though? Because you talk about women. What are you? Like, you're a woman, aren't you? Why are you talking about other women like that? Because I guarantee you, if a woman talked about you like that, you wouldn't like it. I'm just saying. Augusta died in 1945. Ed was 39. Emotionally stunned, socially isolated, and now alone. He boarded up her bedroom like a shrine, left it untouched, pristine. He moved into a tiny corner of the house, surrounded by filth and decay, while her room remained sacred. Neighbors described him as odd, quiet, and childlike, but no one knew what was brewing inside that farmhouse. I guess he was really going through it then. It makes me wonder, did Augusta have him brainwashed? I mean, she did have him brainwashed, but I wonder, did she have him brainwashed about every single thing? Not just women, and not just parts of the world. I wonder, was he brainwashed about friends and this and that and everything? Because if he was isolated in that house, she had to brainwash him about everything that goes. I wonder, was he brainwashed about food? Because reading my script of notes that I had, I wrote out my script, as I always say. My script has been written out. It's in my notes. And that's what I got an iPad for. And in my notes and everything, she brainwashed him, basically. In the script, I just talked about she believed the world was evil, especially women. So I wonder, did she brainwash him about everything of the world and not just women, basically? If you are picking up what I'm putting down. Grief mutated into obsession, and obsession into horror. Between 1947 and 1952, Ed began to rob graves. My Lord. He targeted freshly buried women who resembled Augusta, middle-aged, stout, religious. He took the bodies under midnight, took them home, then he got creative. Now, what I'm about to say may be very graphic for everyone, so if it gets too graphic, you may pause this, and then you may resume it at a later time. Investigators later found skulls used as soup bowls, human skin stitched into lamps, a belt made of nipples, a corset made from a woman's torso, and the infamous woman's suit crafted from flayed skin worn to become his mother. Ugh. Ugh. Damn. Ugh. Mm, mm, mm. This wasn't just a desecration, it was a transformation, a grotesque ritual to resurrect Augusta piece by piece. Ooh. On December 8th of 1954, Mary Hogan vanished from her tavern. Blood on the floor, no body, no suspects. Ed later told a neighbor, "She's not missing, she's at my house." They thought he was joking. Then on November 16th, 1957, Bernice Warden disappeared from her hardware store. Her son, a deputy, found a receipt with Ed's name on it. Police raided the Gein farmhouse, and what they found defied sanity. Y'all, this man, oh, let me hold on for a second before I finish this, because it's really graphic. So this is really graphic, okay? Bernice's body was hanging upside down in the shed, gutted like a deer. Her head was in a burlap sack, and her heart was in a plastic bag found near the stove. Inside the house were 4 noses, 9 uvulas in a shoebox, a face mask nailed to the wall, and Mary Hogan's skull in a paper bag. Look. Look. It was a slaughterhouse of stolen flesh. And this is the story that Ryan Murphy is putting on Netflix. Ryan, if you go do this, please be accurate, because we don't want another. Oh God, child. Ooh. Okay, let me get back into professional mode for a minute, because this right here was y'all. Like I said, I do have my notes and my script written out, so I know what was coming. It still shocks me. Okay, it still shocks me. But I knew what was coming. Okay? So, bear with me. Ed Gein was arrested that night. He confessed to killing Hogan and Warden and then robbing graves. But he never claimed he claimed he never had sex with the bodies. They smelled too bad. You sure you have sex with them bodies? You did every other grotesque thing. You sure you didn't have sex with them? Mm-hmm. He was declared legally insane and committed to Central State Hospital, diagnosed with schizophrenia. He spent the rest of his life in psychiatric care. Bump psychiatric care, put him in the jail. Ain't no way he. No. That is too. That's too easy. Diagnosed with schizophrenia, declared legally insane. I don't care. Put him in a jail. He died in 1984, buried in an unmarked grave, vandalized by those who couldn't let go of the legend. Really? Y'all can't let go? Okay. Ed's crimes changed everything. He became the blueprint for cinematic horror, inspiring, like I said, Norman Bates from Psycho, Leatherface from Texas Chain Saw Massacre, and Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. But the real story is darker than the fiction. It's not just the gore. It's grief, loneliness. A man so broken he tried to rebuild his mother from the dead. Why can't you be like everybody else and just dig up their mama and put her in the chair? Was they even doing the lifelike dead people? you know how you see on TikTok they do them lifelike dead people in the box instead of actually putting them in the casket. They sit them up. Basically, whatever they were doing, whatever they loved to do. I know there was one. He was in the race car. Or was it just a regular car? Either way, he was in the car. Another person was sitting down watching TV with the remote in their hand. Like, I mean, they look scared because I guess if you're not aware of what's going to happen, oh yeah, the hell. But why they weren't doing that back? Okay, so probably just a new trend, a new thing. So who was Ed Gein? I know who he was. I know who he was. He was a weird motherfucker. A weird ass motherfucker. A monster, a madman, or a mirror, reflecting what happens when trauma festers in isolation. Nah. Ain't no child. Hey, you go and get that trauma on out the way. I'm tired of these serial killers always blaming trauma. I had trauma for this, so that's why I killed. No. Don't blame it on the trauma. Don't blame it on the trauma. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Crime Chronicles. Stay curious, stay critical, and above all, stay safe. Until next time.